But what was some of the things that you did in your in ECF?
Well, one of the first things I did was suggest that we do some follow-up with the clients, you know. Marilyn and I agreed we weren't going to be a group. We were going, if anybody worked there, we were going to be a creative group. She had her following and her clients, and I was going to develop mine, but we weren't planning to be another group. I suggested, if she asked her, do you want to do this? I'd like to develop these questionnaires for clients. So we would ask them, the therapist would fill out a form after each session, what intervention they did or what they think might influence a change in the next session. And the therapist after the first session, the client after the first session would be asked before they come into the session to fill out a form saying, was there a change since your last session, and what do you attribute it to? And is it anything the therapist said? And she did that. We both did it with whoever we had, and I think we had about 65 cases that we did like that. I don't know why I never published this, or I was always very shy about publishing. It took me a long time. And it was an amazing result because nobody, not one client ever said, when the therapist said this at the end of the session or in a session, it made me think that, and it was always about the relationship with the therapist. It was, I feel understood, I feel safe, I feel, the conversations helped me feel better about myself. It was never, I was looking for what intervention, what sentence, what question, what message at the end of the, never, not once in all those.
So that must have surprised you, because you had an idea that, something, they will pick up something and they will know it.
I believe that our questions were very important. And when somebody would say, oh, that miracle question really made a difference for me. Or when you asked me about exceptions, I had never thought about exception. Not one person, ever. It was really shocking. It said a lot about relationship.
That is a really important part. Yeah.
But we didn't focus on it. We didn't really talk about that at BFTC.
So were you more focused on relationships after that? And
I think I was focused on relationship always. I think from the start, but maybe more so after that, of course, because but not that. I thought about building a relationship for 2 or 3 sessions. What I'm talking about is at BFDC, we felt it was enough to, when the client came in, to say, oh, how are you? Isn't the weather terrible today? I hope you found the agency well. A little bit of socializing to establish the relationship and then get into it. I came to the conclusion already when I was teaching at BFTC that sometimes it takes a session to allow a client, some clients come in and you want to start slowly and say, well, did you ever have therapy before, whatever. And the clients they just want to tell you, they immediately launch into wanting to tell you why they're there. Well, you can try after a few minutes maybe to say, well, to try to get into the model we use, to try to ask some exceptions or something, and they just need to talk, and they just keep talking. So what do? The students say. My opinion was, you need a relationship. If they leave and they feel they weren't allowed to tell their story, they're not going to come back. So let them talk. Be empathic. And usually next time they come in, they're ready to answer some questions and work. But, that was, not everybody felt probably that was a good idea. So we had different views of that. I don't think anybody there was no criticism ever in our team or at BFTC about you shouldn't have done that, or that's not a good style to do. No, everybody was respected for who they were.
But some ideas were not taken up in the same way that other ideas was.
Well, because basically Steve developed into the theoretician and writer, and things had to be more or less fit. It had to fit his way of thinking.